So, just a reminder of what we discussed yesterday. We discussed the other day in regards to the difference between a unicellular and a multicellular organism. A unicellular organism, once again, is an organism that is made up of only one cell, so hence uni meaning one. And then multicellular organisms are made up of two or more cells. So, the next information we're going to discuss has to deal with only multicellular organisms since they are made up of two or more cells. And when we look at how multicellular organisms are organized, we are basically working from the simplest structure to the most complex. So that's kind of what the arrows going down on this slide represent. So the very first simplest unit, the basic unit of life, like we talked about, is one cell. Now, when you have more than one cell in a multicellular organism, all doing the same job, it turns into then becoming a tissue. So the tissue is a group of similar cells working together to do the same job. So think about it like if I am talking about a heart cell, a cell that is found inside of an organism's heart. When multiple cells are doing the same job, they make tissue. So now the cells all make up a tissue in the heart. Now, when you have a bunch of tissue doing the same job and trying to work together, that makes up an organ. So when you have a bunch of heart tissue, it then makes up the organ of the heart. Now, when you have a bunch of organs working together, that forms an organ system. So in the body of a human, if we take that example, or a mammal for that fact, when you have the cardiovascular system, which is the heart, the arteries, the veins, all of those are organs working together to make up an organ system. So we all know that within our own bodies, we don't just have one organ system. You have your cardiovascular system, you have the nervous system, you have the digestive system. When you have all of these different organ systems working together to help keep an organism alive, that is what is known as an organism. So an organism is something that has organ systems working together to live on its own. So once again, we went from the simplest, most basic unit of life, from the cell, and as we worked through that, we became more and more complex to end up with the organism. So here's just a graphic to kind of help you understand that this is occurring in all multicellular organisms. So a lot of the times we default to animals, but don't forget plants too are a multicellular organism because they are living. So in either of these examples, when you look at this, you have the plant cell, and one plant cell might actually be part of several cells working together to make up a tissue, like a leaf tissue. Then when you have a lot of leaf tissue working together, it makes the organ of the leaf surface. Now, when you talk about the stomata and the stem and the leaves, we're talking about then all of those things working together to make an organ system. And when you have all of those organ systems working together, then you have an organism, such as that plant. Now, at the same time, taking a look at the animal cell, you have one animal cell, and to say that's the heart cell of the animal. So all of those heart cells together make heart tissue. All of the heart tissues together make a heart organ. Now, the organ of the heart plus the veins and the arteries, like I mentioned in the previous slide, are going to make up the organ system as the respiratory system. And then when you have multiple organ systems working together, then you end up with an organism. Please make sure that you have taken notes on these two slides and study slides 2 through 9 in your notes for the quiz this week.